Hello, my name's Callum, and welcome to The Price of Life. In the Chinese city of Wuhan in December 2019, COVID-19 arrived in this world. 2020 onwards to this present date, life has completely changed for most of this world. There has been lockdown after lockdown all over the world. There has been an endless wave of masks. Millions of people have become sick. And there has been so many restrictions in most societies around the world. For this video, I want to shed light on the environmental impact humans have made on combating the COVID-19 pandemic. One point I'd like to make before we begin is that we have done some good for the environment with lockdowns during this pandemic. During the lockdowns around the world, there has been considerably less fuel consumption throughout the world. There's been a lot less air travel and everyday car travel. And because of the huge amount of lockdowns worldwide, this has given Mother Earth a small break of the mass consumption and damage we humans do. And even though it's small, it does make a difference for the environment we live in. So what are we doing to combat COVID-19? On the 18th of November 2020, the UK company Trade Waste found 58.8 million face masks are being used daily in the UK. 10% are reused and 90% are discarded. Globally, 129 billion face masks are being used per month during this pandemic. I work at a hospital, and it's a strange coincidence that the face masks we use come directly from a factory in Wuhan. It's well known China produces the most face masks in the world. In 2017, China produced 41% of the world's face masks. Strange coincidence? I'll let you decide. The main raw materials used to make a disposable face mask are petroleum oil, different metals, and paper pulp. There's a number of different processes to get all these materials put together and packaged into a mask. The raw material bauxite is mined, transported to a factory, and goes through a number of refining steps to create aluminium, which use vast amounts of electricity and energy. The large refined aluminium would be sent to other factories to cut into smaller lengths and refine to make the nose piece for your mask. The fuel logistics for getting the raw bauxite and transforming it into aluminium and sending to the factory in China to produce to make a mask would be fairly substantial. And this is only one part of the mask making. Think of the elastic earpieces and the woven face covering and the different steps putting all these materials together. There'll be videos in the link below showing the different production steps of making masks. So what about all the other PPE gear? In this collaborated scientific article, it was found that the global plastic consumption of medical gloves and face masks worldwide in 2020 was approximately 69 billion units per month. Think also of the plastic gowns and other items used in hospitals to combat this virus. To make gowns and gloves, again there is a number of steps at different production factories to turn crude oil into different types of plastic. I will leave some videos in the link below showing this. Another example of increased plastic usage can be provided from China, where plastic waste increased from 40 tonne per day before the pandemic to around 240 tonne per day. Some of this may have been caused from the increased amount of plastic used for packaging in e-commerce and food takeaways. That's a whole lot more crude oil used. I will leave a video in the link below showing the environmental costs of oil logistics. Now let's look at the main weapon for killing COVID: cleaning products. The main weapons we have been using to combat this virus is soap, hand sanitizer, paper towels, bleach, sanitation wipes, and sanitation sprays. All of these products have significantly increased during this pandemic, in production and in usage. Paper towels are made out of wood pulp and go through a number of different processes to become paper towels, getting sent to different factories all over the world. Sanitizer, bleach, cleaning products, and soap have so many different chemicals and production processes to make these. If I were to explain all of this to you, it would take hours. Here are some pictures of the process and some videos in the link below to learn more about how all these different cleaning products are made and just how much resources are used to make them. Again, all of these different ingredients are made and sent from different factories all over the world to come together for the final product. Congratulations for getting this far with me. There's a lot of hidden costs for making everyday things like cleaning products, etc., etc. Just the logistics and oil costs are quite significant. So I'm up to the juicy stuff now. What is the environmental cost of vaccines? For this video, I will focus on the Pfizer BioNTech messenger RNA COVID-19 vaccine. So how are vaccines even made? In the link below, I have a number of videos giving you a clearer picture of how vaccines are made. So let's begin. The first step is to identify there is a virus. Scientists take blood samples and saliva samples of hundreds of people with the COVID-19 virus. It is then analyzed in labs using high-tech computers and DNA sequencer analysis machines. The human DNA is made for the sequences using liquid handling robots. They use enzymatic and chemical reactions so the DNA can be put in between glass films to be read on the sequencer machine. The scientists then analyze the DNA, find the virus, and develop strategies of replicating this virus in a safe way to give to people to kickstart their immune systems against COVID-19. For the Pfizer vaccine, they aimed at making synthetic messenger RNA of the spike protein of COVID-19. To understand how synthetic messenger RNA is made, I will describe the Pfizer process from start to finish of how their vaccine is made. The process begins in a factory in Chesterfield, Missouri. The first step is to make circular snippets of DNA called plasmids. They do this by brewing hundreds of gallons of an amber-colored solution containing designed E. coli bacteria. Using a process called biosynthesis, these bacteria churn out trillions of DNA plasmids over the course of 2 weeks. When completed, the solution goes through a purification process similar to straining spaghetti through a colander that removes everything but the microscopic loops of DNA. This is done using high-tech lab machines that use extensive amounts of power. Next, the loops are straightened out using enzymes to cut the circles, using more high-tech machines. The lines of DNA in the now clear solution are then packed into special high-tech bags about the size of a grocery bag and frozen to minus 112 Fahrenheit for storage. Throughout this process, scientists are taking samples and analyzing through computer programs to make sure everything is safe. Once the DNA templates have passed the necessary tests, the frozen bags of active ingredient are placed in specifically designed containers and shipped 1,200 miles away to Pfizer's Andover plant. The product, while transported, must stay at minus 112 Fahrenheit while transported on trucks, most likely using dry ice. In Andover, the lines of DNA are transcribed into messenger RNA. In a highly technical process, the linear strands of DNA are turned into RNA in 40-litre vessels full of enzymes and chemicals over the course of 3 to 4 days. A 40-litre batch can make up to 10 million doses of vaccine. This all happens in an extremely high-tech manufacturing suite. The air is filtered, the equipment is constantly tested, and all employees wear head-to-toe cleanroom overalls to ensure nothing is introduced into the vaccine as it's made. Next, the messenger RNA must be separated from the liquid it was created in, and the excess chemicals used to make it. Most of the purified messenger RNA is then packed and frozen and sent to the next factory in Kalamazoo, Michigan. At this factory, the messenger RNA is turned into a vaccine. The next process for the messenger RNA is called the Encapsulation Process. The fragile strands of messenger RNA are enclosed in tiny balls of fat known as lipid nanoparticles. To make this happen, The lipids are diluted with ethanol and then fed together with messenger RNA into hockey puck-sized mixes. Salts are added to make it the same pH as your body, and sugar is added to help preserve the product. All of these ingredients are then poured and sealed into a vial and are now ready to be sent all over the world. So that's how the Pfizer vaccine is made in America in a commercial scale. Let's backtrack a bit. Before the vaccines are approved safe for people, they have to go through extensive trials. The first of these trials begin on animals. According to Pfizer, 99% of the animals in their care are rats and mice. They also do trials on rabbits, hamsters, guinea pigs, ferrets, dogs, and non-human primates. During the early vaccine trials, they begin testing mostly on mice, rats, hamsters, and ferrets. When they begin getting promising results, they go to the next stage of trials, testing on non-human primates. Pfizer tested on rhesus macaques, which are basically cute little monkeys. I found it really hard to find concrete facts of how many animals have been tested for the vaccine. All of the animals are killed after the trials, and most would have been given the COVID-19 virus. According to People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, each year more than 110 million animals, including mice, frogs, dogs, rabbits, monkeys, fish, and birds, are killed in US laboratories. For the Pfizer vaccine, I'm going to guess anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 or more animals were killed during the testing process. Pfizer then began testing on humans. For the first trial, they tested on 360 healthy people from 18 to 55 years of age. Nuala Murphy, president of Icon Clinical Research Services, said they recruited more than 44,000 patients for the vaccine clinical trials. All of the vaccine trials are analyzed on computers and take a considerable amount of time checking and rechecking results before they are happy enough to send submissions to governments to begin vaccinations worldwide. So there you have it. That is the basic rundown of how the COVID-19 vaccine by Pfizer and BioNTech was made. It took roughly 10 months research before the Pfizer vaccine became commercial worldwide. Tens to hundreds of thousands of blood vials and COVID swab testing kits would have been sent to landfills creating this vaccine. From what I can gather, the vaccine was being developed at 45 different lab sites in Germany and America. Think of the vast amount of power being used 5 days a week for 10 months in 45 of these different labs. Not to mention the vast amounts of power used to then commercially create the vaccines. In the US, laboratories use a lot of energy, from 30 to 100 kilowatt hours of electricity and 75 to 800,000 BTU of natural gas per square foot each year. Think of the initial environmental costs of building the different machines and computers to make these vaccines, and also the regular maintenance needed on all these high-tech machines, including cleaning, etc., etc. And to top it off, once the vaccine is made, large amounts of dry ice have to be commercially made and used for sending the products worldwide to keep the product at minus 112 Fahrenheit. Think of the oil consumption cost also for the whole logistics and supply chain of creating the product and sending it to New Zealand. Well, that was a lot to unpack. There is so many hidden costs for making vaccines, combating COVID-19. There's just so much that you don't even think about that's happening behind the scenes. The main reason I've made this video is I'd like people to think more about the environment rather than our own human interests. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked my content, give it a good thumbs up. And if you want to see more, click the subscribe button and join me on my adventures. You can also support me by going to buymeacoffee.com in the link below.